All right. Here we are, up and running. Okay, so feels like such a long time since we actually get back to any of these stories. It's weird. It's only been a week, but feels a lot longer than that. All right, so we last left off on episode 8 of Umineko, and it was Battler was showing Angie the true story of what happened on October 4th and 5th, 1986, to a young Angie. He gave her a key for something that she would know what to do with it when the time came, or some such. But Angie has been like rejecting what's been happening. It's not what she remembers. Everybody's so weird. It doesn't quite match up to what's been shown before, especially Kinzo. Kinzo's very different. But anyway, with that, let's continue on. We also ran into Beatrice. Battler introduced her to us, and now we're somewhere else, I guess. I think we left off at a break point, so let's get to it. Alright, one sec. Getting the frame a bit better. Alright. The VIP room was filled with a sweet smell of pumpkin tea. Oh, and pumpkin tea and whatever the Japanese term for it is. And packed with smiles and laughter. Simply splendid. I am glad to see you in such high spirits. Oh yeah, and there was gift giving on Halloween, which doesn't make sense. I've never heard of that tradition, so it's just odd. I could say the same for you. What idiot said you're reaching your last years? I just borrow a bit of cheer from you. Once I return to my study, I'll be a little more than a withering, senile old man. Enough with your lies. Give it up and swear that you'll be living at large until you're 100. Same here. I haven't seen you for 6 years, but I was surprised to see how little you'd changed. You little brat. So it seems you've learned flattery during these past 6 years. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you're hardly a fair judge in the matter. I've grown quite old indeed. But 1,000 yen that Kinzo's still doing great when he turns 100. Yeah, me too. Grandfather won't be any different when he's 100. Don't think you'll get any more presents for complimenting me. Kinzo laughed cheerily. Beto... I had a blip there. Kinzo laughed cheerily. Beto, who sat next to Battler, was also laughing merrily. Angie stood all alone by the window, staring at the others and trying to figure out what sort of relationship the witch of the portrait and her grandfather had. There was a knock on the door. Is that you, Genji? Come in. Pardon the intrusion. Kraus-sama and Natsuhi-sama are here. Father. Oh, and Battler-kun's here too? It has been some time, Beatrice-san. Has there been any news? I'm just the way I used to be. Come on, have a seat. And Angie, why are you standing by the window like that? Come over here and sit down. Angie, come over here. I'll just watch from here. Angie grasped the candy she had gotten from Beato tightly, and with a gaze that was still wary, she continued to stare. Genji offered her a chair, but Angie just shook her head. Let her do as she pleases. Come, Kraus, Natsuhi, and have a seat as well. Is it something important? I guess Angie and I should leave. Hey, if you leave, who's gonna back me up here? Kinzo, you don't mind if Battler stays, do you? I have nothing to hide. I care not. However, he had called Kraus and Natsuhi to the VIP room to meet Beatrice, the Golden Witch. It was hard to imagine that Kinzo wanted to have a casual conversation. After Kinzo said he didn't mind, Beato also asked Battler to stay, so he decided to do so. In order to avoid getting in the way of their conversation, Battler stood up from the sofa and walked over to Angie's window. When the big brother finally came back to Angie, she clung to his waist, as though determined not to let him go away again. Oh, I see. That must be why Angie doesn't like me.
What?
Huh? What do you mean? Angie doesn't dislike you, does she? You really don't understand women, Battler. Beato smiled at Angie, but the latter turned to look the other way. Even a young woman is a woman nonetheless. When Beato stopped laughing, the conversation switched gears. Why on earth did Kinzo summon Kraus and Natsuhi to the VIP room? And what was he going to talk about? Everyone fell automatically silent. Golden Witch Beatrice. Each and every day, I remember the debt the Ushimiya family owes, from when it was saved from the brink of destruction. Yeah, you'd better thank me. Well, it's actually your grandmother he's thanking. Shut up, you. No, it comes to the same thing. All of that gold has been lent to the Ushimiya family for 3 generations, and without cost. We truly cannot be grateful enough. Gold bars are the same as bricks to me. I had nowhere else to put them, so it was a relief to have Kinzo hold on to them. Oh, I'd like to say that just once before I die. Is the Golden Witch a rich person? Well, yeah. After all, she just went and lent grandfather 10 tons of gold. Precisely. I've been borrowing it for several decades, always promising to return it someday. It is a debt I will never be able to fully repay. The head family has never forgotten its gratitude. Isn't that right, dear? Of course. If the Beatrice hadn't kindly lent it to us for 3 generations, the Ushimiya family would have fallen long ago. Even someone as shrewd as father couldn't have done anything without funds to start with. By now, my money is making money, and the gold that made up my original funds can sleep in peace. Kraus, do you know what I am about to say? Since the moment Kraus had been summoned here, he had guessed what Kinzo was hinting at now. All things borrowed must be returned someday. That day had finally come. Yes, I understand. Father, Beatrice, I do not have many years ahead of me. In fact, this may be the last family conference that we will attend together. How faint-hearted you sound. You must be joking. Beato alone laughed. She looked at Battler, so he laughed along with her, but Kinzo and the others remained silent. Apparently, there existed some major concerns about Kinzo's health. Of course, I do not intend to die as soon as next year. However, I don't believe I can make any certain promises about meeting you again. I never make promises I cannot keep. You say it so proudly like that. I'm in no position to disagree. Are you serious about this? Beatrice, I want to make amends, and I must do it while I am still in high spirits. For that reason, I made a decision today. What's grandfather talking about? Quiet. Grandfather is about to talk about something very important. By now, even Battler understood what Kinzo was about to propose. Beato probably realized it too. At one time, the Ushimiya family had ruled the skies like an eagle, before being crushed by the great Kanto earthquake. The eagle had one of its wings torn off, and it crawled in the mud, on the point of death. Then they were saved by the Golden Witch's golden miracle. Under the Golden Witch's protection, the eagle had nursed its wounds for many years. And now, finally, it was time for the eagle to leave the nest the witch had provided. I will return all of the gold that your grandmother lent me. Kraus, you have no objections, correct? That gold did not belong to the Ushimiya family in the first place. Of course, I have no objections whatsoever. Are you sure, Kraus? You're an investor, aren't you? You could always do with more money, right? Didn't you want Kinzo to hand the gold over to you? Yes, now that you mention it, it's hard to deny what you say. However, the contract was always between you and father, and the gold was yours to begin with. My husband is the successor, after all. Just as father rebuilt the family in one generation, I'm sure my husband will make the family thrive in his. And this is something the two of us will do together. Well said. Yes, that is the spirit. So, letting go of 10 tons of gold leaves you with no regrets? I must say, that is quite impressive. What can a witch do against an opponent who cannot be swayed by the gold and magic? I will return the gold to you. But the Ushimiya family will always be supremely indebted to Beatrice, the Golden Witch. They would return the gold once lent by the Golden Witch. It was both simple and clear. However, the expression worn by the Golden Witch herself was slightly lonely. Angie couldn't understand why this was. After all, if you're returning it, I cannot simply say I don't want it, take it back. Oh, well. Beato rose from the sofa. Then she walked up to the window and looked down at the rose garden, waving in the wind. Kraus, I have also decided to present you and the others with my inheritance while I still live. Father, When I die, you will not only be busy with the funeral, but I imagine that you will have Eva and the others at your throats over the inheritance issues. If all is divided now, the funeral will be less trying for you. Kraus, write this down. And Genji, please be our secretary. I will now lay out the distribution of my assets. Ginzo immediately began explaining how the inheritance would be split up. Battler, realizing that he shouldn't be listening in on this conversation, walked over to where Beato was loitering by the window. Hey, rich person. If you got too much gold on your hands, I'd be happy to lighten the load. Gold would be more useful if you turned it into firewood and used it to cook a stew. What's the matter? You're looking a bit bored. So, this day has finally come. I do feel a bit lonely. You do? My magic revived the Ishimiya family and created Rokkenjima. And now it seems the Ishimiya family no longer has any need for the power of my gold. It has taken flight, leaving the nest of my magic behind. True. That's how it turned out. I have called Rokkenjima the Witch's Island. My island. Well, and now Rokkenjima is returning the gold to me. The day has come for Rokkenjima to awaken from my magic. That's true. I knew that this would be the last game. However, now that we've reached this point, even in a manner such as this, it's surprisingly painful. You're the type of person who looks totally carefree, but who's actually full of lingering attachments and regrets. The cruel and obstinate ones are usually the quickest to grow attached, and then to feel lonely. That's right. That's the kind of person you are. It was a game for you and me. It was fun. A great game you polished to perfection during those 6 years. I once likened it to eternal torture for the both of us. Eternity is happiest when you can still believe that it's eternal. But all things must end. And we have to be aware of that. So, we must not avert our eyes. Just as the sun always rises, there's no sun that doesn't set. Of course, Angie didn't have the slightest idea what her brother and the witch were talking about. However, even as young as she was, she could feel that the pair had spent an incredibly long time together, and that they understood each other so well that they might as well be a married couple. Then, Beato noticed her reaction. Angie, at one point, the two of us wove games for each other. However, that time is now over. This game has been made, not for our sake, but for yours. They were speaking in riddles again. Grasping the key that hung by her chest, Angie looked at her brother's face. We need to show you the contents of the cat box of this day. That key I gave you is for opening it. What do you mean by cat box? He means this day. With the miracle of magic, I've brought you to the day you wanted to reach so much. You must continue telling the story of this day as the final wish. Does that mean that I mustn't remain here? Angie's tone was slightly tense. She understood what her brother meant, and it made her frown. And just how long have I suffered, wishing that I could return to the Rakuchima of 1986? And now, I finally made it here. So, why are you chasing me out? You said I could decide for myself. That's right. I did say that. I'm not leaving. And please, stop trying to spoil me with this strange, made-up game. I want to know the truth of this day. She's a moody girl, be it 12 years in the future or in the past. Shut up. I didn't ask you. Well, what the hell do you think you're doing here? Didn't the Golden Witch come here to perform her resurrection ceremony? Didn't you appear on the island with a crash of thunder and try to offer up 13 people as sacrifices? Why are you acting so happy and casual? It doesn't make any sense. You're the one that doesn't make sense. What are you thinking? Do you want me to be a murderer? You wrote it down in a tale, sealed it in a message ball, and threw it into the sea. 2 of those were discovered later on. Both of them were stories of cruel serial murders. What a shame that only 2 of them made it to shore. How sad that Land, my greatest masterpiece, was never seen by human eyes. I've been wanting to ask this for a while, but what's up with those message bottles? As I was working out the details for my game against you, I began creating those tales along the way. Once I realized that I could create endless different tales out of the same game board, it really started to get fun. So you wrote them down, hoping that I'd read them someday. Precisely. They were so good, I just couldn't bear to wait for your return. Inspired by Agatha Christie, I tried sealing them in bottles and throwing them into the ocean. Mysterious, don't you think? Don't mock me. Those were your plans for the crime. You used the location of the hidden gold to fan up discontent between the family members. As you planned your brutal serial murders. Sheesh. Is that what I've become in the year 1998? Well, I guess I can't blame them. Huh? What's with that sudden change of character? Is this some scheme to make me let my guard down? I'm not going to be fooled so easily, Beatrice. Oni-chan, you want to make me surrender and say the witches exist, don't you? You think I'll fall for that? I'll find the truth without your help. Even though that truth is all around you right now. You once called yourself Gretel, but it seems the name Midel would be more fitting. Enough! Angie tried to slap Beato's cheek. However, the difference between their heights was so great that Beato dodged before the hand could reach her. Stupid. Stupid. I won't accept it. I'll never acknowledge this farce as the truth. Hello, welcome. You just dodged a slap to the face. After Angie yelled those words, her eyes grew cloudy. They cleared up almost immediately. By that time, she had already gone back to her 6-year-old self. You're right, Angie. This is the sin I left behind, and the reason for this final tale's existence. As Angie stared blankly, uncomprehending, Beato gently patted her head. Indeed. This tale is a farce. Of course it isn't the truth. However, there is something that he feels he must tell you. Something he's so determined to convey that he went to such lengths. Beato, I'm already showing her. I don't want to force it on her. I see. I don't understand what you're saying. I'm sleepy. True. We should probably go take a nap. Why? Kinzo, must I remain here longer? My apologies, but I must ask you to stay for just a bit. Moving on, Kraus. The continued support of the Fukuin house should be viewed as your responsibility as the Ushimiya family head. What a pain. Forgive me, Battler. It seems I cannot go with you. Genji, would you mind taking these two to the guest house? Is he the secretary at the moment? As you wish. Battler-sama, Anji-sama, please follow me. Thanks. See you later, Beato. Of course. I have a mountain of things I wish to discuss with you. And I'd like to have some time alone tonight. We must act the part of a married couple every now and then. What do you mean, act the part of a married couple? What? Because Angie had gotten so bored, she had grown very sleepy. It'd probably be best for her to take a quick nap. Battler walked through the windy rose garden, pulling her by the hand. When he questioned their guide, Genji, he learned that the old servant had known beforehand of Kinzo's desire to return the gold to Beato, and settle the inheritance problem early. The master decided to start preparations early for his final task in this world, the ending of his life. Most people don't think much about what happens after they die. His grandfather just lives on a whole different scale. Today marks the start of a new flight, when the Ushimiya family will depart from the Golden Witch's patronage. That's true. That's a pretty cool way to say it. Apparently, a grand Halloween party was to be held tonight, and Gota and the others had been ordered to start getting ready for it. However, it wouldn't just be a party. It would be a ceremony to mark the return of Beatrice's gold. At the start of dinner, Grandfather would make the announcement, and the 3 generations of Beatrices would be thanked for their gift to the family with a round of applause. Apparently, this was what they had planned. Okay. Are we still keeping the secret from Dad and the others? Technically, it is a secret. However, the master did not suddenly begin thinking in this way today. He has considered this day many times over, many years, and has even discussed certain matters with his children. I doubt that any will be surprised to hear this night's announcement. Apparently my old bastard's been running all over the place trying to get money for his company. I guess he'll be dancing around when he hears that grandfather's giving him his part of the inheritance early. Nice present for him. I rather think the great responsibility is what will spur him on. Ever since Rudolf-sama left the island, he has succeeded splendidly. However, his successes so far has been supported by the master's wealth. Now that he's suddenly getting his inheritance money, he'll have to keep going by his own strength alone in the future. That's some nice pressure for him. The siblings must have suffered for decades because of their father's success and ability. Simply having a parent who is too successful can be a great burden to a child. And tonight, they'll be leaving the nest, truly becoming adults for the first time. It seems the master plans to call this night the gold returning ceremony. However, he originally intended to call it a living funeral. Sounds pretty depressing, having a funeral while you're still alive. I'll admit that calling it a day to start a new journey and leave the nest fits the Ushimiya family much better. There was actually a movie I watched a while back about a guy who wanted to hold his own funeral and gonna have like raffles and parties and stuff while they were doing it. It wasn't actually a pretty good movie. Can't remember the name of it though. I'll see if I can figure it out later. Alright. Oni-chan, I'm sleepy. Look, we're almost to the guest house. Do you want to go to mom's room? Or to the cousin room? I don't care. I'll sleep until dinner. Angie, still holding her brother's hand, crouched down and looked as though she was about to fall asleep. Battler lifted her up and carried her. As she felt the warmth and safety of her brother's back, Angie drifted off into sleep. What happened that day? Just what on earth happened on October 4th and 5th, 1986? Because of the massive size of the Rakanjima explosion accident, the time of the explosion was known almost exactly, down to the minute. That time was October 5th, midnight. The sheer improbability of that round number provided that the accident had been produced by artificial means. Later on, the following statements were collected from individuals who knew Ushimiya Kinzo when he was alive. During his lifetime, Ushimiya Kinzo built a clock rigged to blow up the island at exactly midnight. This clock was apparently inside his secret study. When he felt mentally cornered and wanted to think up a brilliant plan, he would activate that device and use the tension of the approaching midnight to bring some flash of inspiration to him. While Ushimiya Kinzo still lived, this was only thought of as a tall tale about this eccentric man. But the fact that the Rakanjima explosion accident occurred at exactly midnight supported the story. It sounds crazy. He must have hoped to gain some sort of mystical power from those short periods of madness. If you call this his source of high-output mental power, the story isn't that difficult to swallow. This guy again. Professor Utsuki spoke passionately. Witch hunters, enthusiasts who treat the mad fantasy surrounding Rakanjima as their plaything. Angie had no reason to love these people, who embellished the deaths of her family just for the fun of it. How ironic it was to Angie, who wanted to know what happened that day, that such people knew more about that island than anyone else. Fanatics will know a hell of a lot more about all the details than most people. It's really weird. Going to any like fan sites and the like, they know every character's every action and all that stuff. It's pretty amazing actually. If someone used that device, the island would be blown away without a trace. There would be nothing left. No matter what had happened there, they could erase it. Theories that Ushimiya Eva was the ringleader of some conspiracy sprang up very early on. However, no one was able to explain how she shed off such a massive explosion. And the rigged clock proves that such a thing was possible. Correct. We can theorize that Ushimiya Eva, fully aware of the timing and expected radius of the explosion, took refuge in Kuadorian to get all of the family wealth to herself. She killed everyone and used the explosion to remove all evidence. That idea proves the most logical explanation for the Rakanjima mystery. It also conforms to the fact that Eva never spoke to anyone about the events of that day. Where was that rigged clock, and how did Eva find it? Several forgeries have speculated on this matter. There's no need for me to waste time thinking about it. Eva activated the clock device, aiding Kuadorian to escape the blast, and was therefore the only one to survive. That was everything, the answer, which eloquently told the whole story. When Eva first adopted me, our relationship wasn't that bad at all. I asked her several times, what happened that day? Every single time she answered, it was to say that she didn't remember. But, well, she must have been flustered at the time. The very first time I asked, she answered like this. I can't tell you about it. It was a slip of the tongue. She knew what had happened that day, and she left this world without telling even a bit of the truth. She sealed the truth in a cat box, and left this world, taking the key with her. There can be only one answer. She was behind everything. She got to keep all the family wealth to herself, and became super rich. And afterward she lamented the fact that her beloved son would never inherit any of what she had created, and she cursed me. Just remembering that old bitch makes me want to vomit. What happened that day? That's what I want to know. It's my only goal, the one reason I'm still alive. However, later on I had to come to grips with the fact that my goal was an abstract one. After all, though I don't know what happened that day, if it's a question of who did the crime, that's already clear. Ushiromiya Eva. She's the culprit. That has never changed since the beginning. That's right. I'm not trying to find out what happened that day. I'm trying to find out what Ushiromiya Eva did that day. If I can reveal that, then I can expose Eva's evil, even though she's already dead. That is my true goal. The police also suspected that the accident might be a crime, and they did investigate. However, no matter how much they inspected the crater that had once been Rakanjima, they didn't find anything at all. The public and the witch hunters cornered Eva with several bits of circumstantial evidence, but not a single bit of physical evidence was found. Though Eva was only the merest fraction of a shade away from guilty, they were unable to expose her crime. My goal isn't anything as vague as learning what happened that day. It's to expose the crime Ushiromiya Eva committed that day, and to have my revenge. I haven't been able to expose Ushiromiya Eva's crime, so people are acting as though the events on the island were all done by some bizarre golden witch. Defeating the golden witch means exposing Ushiromiya Eva's sin. I won't forgive Ushiromiya Eva. I'll certainly hate her and take revenge for my family. That is Ushiromiya Anji's one and only reason for living. And we're back here. If you knew you hated her that much, the president would probably be rolling around laughing in the next world. Shut up. I'll expose that old bitch's crime. I won't accept that it was a perfect crime, with all traces blown away. I'll never do that. In other words, this journey of yours is a journey to take revenge for your family. Got a problem with that? You must be joking. It's great to know that you have a purpose in life. Could you turn that off? Oh? You don't like Imzaki? Not particularly. Moxa turned the radio off. The dull sound of the engine became the background music that filled the car. Is it really so strange? Fighting for revenge? Not really. Out on the front, I met people who lived for that reason over and over. You've been on battlefields many times as a mercenary, right? Well, I've seen a few. So are people who fight to take revenge for their families. Strong? No doubt about it. Some people even strap bombs to themselves and commit suicide to take revenge for their families. Humans are more than capable of dying for vengeance. That's right. I could do it too. Have you heard of child soldiers? You mean kids who fight like soldiers? That's it. Kids who've lost their parents and have nowhere to go sometimes get picked up by groups of armed insurgents and become soldiers. They get a gun thrust in their hands and they're taught how to take revenge. But in the end, children are expendable. Anyone can be a soldier in a battlefield if they can pull a trigger. Are you trying to say that I'm like that? Revenge can be a reason for living. It can also give you the strength to become a soldier. Like a miracle that can turn a girl who could do nothing but sob over her parents' corpses into a soldier, almost overnight. Nothing gives you more power than revenge. I guess so. And that's what I'm like. Do you know about the child soldier problem? No. Child soldiers who are given guns and taught how to take revenge make that their reason for living. Well, that's not exactly right. It becomes their reason for firing their guns. But revenge is something that never ends. And at some point, they no longer have any reason to keep shooting. What do you mean? They once shot for revenge, but eventually, they keep on shooting for no reason at all. You mean they forget about taking revenge? When revenge is impossible, they eventually get tired of it and forget their original goals. When that happens, they have nothing except their guns. Eventually, they'll keep shooting just so they can eat. You're saying that child soldiers who started using guns for revenge end up as bandits or something? After all, they've never even gone to school. They haven't been taught any useful skills as far as employees go. They only learned how to shoot guns, and they were only ever praised when they killed the enemy. Eventually, your reasons for living stop being revenge and becomes the means you once used to take revenge. It's sad, really. Are you saying that I'll eventually get tired of revenge and, what would it be in my case? You'll get tired of exposing the truth, and you'll eventually become a person who can do nothing but hate Ushimiya Eva. Well, that's true already. Got a problem with it? Come to think of it, that's right. I'm not sure what Amakusa is trying to say. Probably something annoying. So I'm not interested. Revenge is pointless. Is that what you're trying to say? You still have a long life ahead of you, lady. As your youth, you could do anything. I get a feeling that this journey might be a waste of that precious youth. It's none of your business. I've already jumped once, remember? Off that huge skyscraper. And you only barely made it out of that alive. Back then, I died. So I'm already a ghost. And my only purpose is to expose the truth of that day, take revenge on my family's enemy. Sheesh. That's an iron will you've got there, lady. There's no way a flippant man like you could understand how I feel. After that, Makusa was forced to shut his mouth. He shrugged But Angie didn't see. Even so, Moxa spoke once more. On the first day we started this journey, you said something. You said you wanted to know what happened on that island that day. It's the same now. What's changed? Now you're saying that you want to know what happened on that island that day, so you can expose Yushima Eva's crime. And isn't that exactly the same? Well, that's true, but I'm tired, so I'll sleep now. Would you mind staying quiet for a bit? Tell me when we get there. Roger that. I wasn't particularly tired, really. I just said that because I didn't like talking about this. Don't become one. A child soldier. Angie, who had decided to feign sleep, ignored him. But Amakusa kept talking. He wanted to make sure she heard at least this much. You started on a journey to learn the truth. It's becoming more and more a journey of revenge. A journey to have revenge by exposing the truth. But as you know, there's nothing left on Rakanjima. There aren't even any traces left. Exposing the truth might not be a picnic. I know what Amakusa is trying to say. The police searched the scene so thoroughly just after the crime, and even they weren't able to find any physical evidence proving that Ushima Eva was the culprit. And a full 12 years have passed since then. If the truth could be discovered by a girl like me, waving wads of cash around to pick up a bit of info on those who were somehow related to the incident, then someone would have exposed the truth long ago. I might not be able to reach the truth. If so, in my first desire, my desire to expose the truth will probably fade away. After that, only my hatred for Eva will remain. Just like those child soldiers who forget their original purpose and will just live just to shoot. I'll forget my original purpose and live just to hate. I'll do nothing but despise Yushimiya Eva, but my goal, exposing the truth for revenge, will be gone. So hating Yushimiya Eva will become my whole life. Is there any difference between shooting for revenge and shooting to live? When you pull the trigger, someone dies either way. What about my case? Is there any difference between hating Eva as I expose the truth, and hating Eva after I've given up? There's no difference. In the end, whether I find the truth or not, I'll just keep on cursing Eva over and over until I die. What a crappy life. But now, that's all I have left. Yushimiya Eva stole my family, so I'll take revenge by exposing her crimes and showing the world. My consciousness was slowly drifting away into sleep. Now are we back to little Angie? Yep. Odd little tidbit, but sleep is actually a coping mechanism for stress for some people, which is possibly the case for Angie here. She's like, I'm tired, just let me sleep for a bit. Problem goes away, you wake up refreshed, and the problem's gone. Kinda works, but kinda doesn't. Why is Oni-chan showing me such a bizarre Rakanjima? Is this supposed to be the truth? Enough of this farce. Why is even Oni-chan trying to hide the truth from me? I'm trying to find it so that I can avenge him and the others. Or would Oni-chan say the same thing as Amakusa? That revenge is meaningless, so I should stop. Is that why he's speaking in riddles, trying to make everything more confusing? That's none of his business. I'm not just trying to take revenge for their sakes. I'm doing it for my sake, too. After all, that's the only reason I'm still alive. Taking revenge is my reason to live. I don't have a clue what Oni-chan is thinking. Umineko no Naku Koro Nichiro, Nocturne of Truths and Illusions. Alright. Yeah, there's one odd bit I have with a lot of revenge stories. Not a lot of it, but some of them. Is taking revenge after the fact, like say some fantasy story, they killed my parents, then you finally track him down 40 years later and he's an old man just living his life in a farm or something, and you try and take revenge for him there. Yeah, that's pointless. It's way past the point. He's probably repented already, yada yada, stuff like that. That revenge only benefits the person who was taking action. But then there's the revenge of, like, say some big old evil overlord, again, killed your parents, and so you're taking revenge after him while he's massacring other people. That revenge actually has more of a function than personal gain. You're stopping somebody from taking more action on others. So in that sense, revenge actually can be a useful tool. Maybe not the most healthy of ways to go about it, but it helps a lot. It is actually beneficial to do stuff like that, somewhat. But what bugs me is when, even in a case like that, you're up against, like, the supreme evil being or something, and, well, if you take revenge, you'll only be stooping to my level. No, I'm killing you, so you stop killing everybody else. It makes kind of sense, but people keep saying it's no killing. Killing is bad. It depends on what's happening. Anyway. Outside, the rain had started to pour down hard. However, inside the cousin room, it was loud and cheery. They could have been raiding spears, and no one would have paid any attention. The full house. Take that. But you weren't bluffing. The cousins were all bursting with energy, sitting in a circle on the bed. I thought Battler always had crap in his hands every time he acted tough. Of course, I've been losing all this time just to make you think that. You should be a Battler, the man who loses strategically to win in the end. Oh, Battler's incredible. All my coins have disappeared again. I'll give you some of mine. Let's crush Battler together, okay? With just a deck of cards, the cousins could enjoy themselves for hours and hours. They were so engrossed that the occasional thunderbolt hardly even registered as static in the background. I haven't played much poker, never been all that good at it. I don't know. It's never quite been my game. I'm starting to get hungry. I wonder if dinner's ready yet. Who knows? It should be ready soon. Goda-san and the others really went all out for tonight. Which means we've got a lot to look forward to. Is this to celebrate my long-awaited return? I heard from Shan just now that it's going to be a Halloween party. I'll set up a buffet in the hall. Sounds incredible. A Halloween party? Incredible, incredible. Hmm? Yeah, who is it? There was a knock, the door opened, and Angie was there. She had been sleeping in her parents' room.
おう、
Hey,
エンジェ
Angie.
が起きたか。
So you woke up?
あのね、
They said it's time for dinner, so you have to go to the mansion.
準備しなさい
They
っ
said
て。
to get ready.
ご
Ooh,
飯だ、ご
food,
飯
food.
だ。お腹す
I'm
いた。
hungry. Perhaps because she was the hungriest, Maria celebrated more vigorously than anyone else. She jumped up happily and hopped off the bed. As the others all clambered off the bed and started putting their shoes on, Gary and Rudolph came into view.
ほらガキども、
Hey, brats.
飯だぞ。
Time for food, so get ready.
今日はなんだか
Looks
素
like
敵みた
today
い
will be
よ。
extra special.
楽しみね。
I can't wait to see it. Yeah, I
マリア
know.
知ってる？
It's a Halloween party.
ハロウィンパーティー。
Halloween party?
マリアだ
I
け
know,
知ってて、
and Angie
エンジ
doesn't.
は知らん。お母さん、
Mom,
ハロウィンパ
what's
ーティーって
Halloween
何？
party?
さあ、
Who
何か
knows?
しらね。行ってのお
We'll
楽
have
し
to
み
go
ね
and see for ourselves.
みんな、ええ
Everyone
か。
ready?
そろそろ行く
About
で。
time to go.
皆様、
Is
お揃
everyone
いでしょ
here?
うか。ご案内いたしま
Please
す。
follow me.
マリア、こっちいらっしゃい。
Maria, over here.
襟が変よ。
Your collar's crooked.
お腹空いちゃったわ。
The food is the best part of these family conferences.
エンジェちゃんはお腹
Are
空
you
いた？
starving too, Angie-chan? Eva smiled at Angie.
うん、
Yeah,
着いた。
I'm starving.
エンジ
Angie,
ェ、着きました。
that's... I'm hungry, right?
いいのよ。
Don't worry about it.
そうよ
Yeah,
ね。
I'll
お
bet
腹
you're
空いたわよ
starving.
ね。おばさんもお
My
腹
stomach's
ペコ
rumbling
ペ
too.
コよ。
よし、
Okay,
出
let's
発する
get
ぞ。
out of here.
表は風も
Looks
強
like
い
the
みたい
wind
だ
is
から
blowing
な。
hard outside.
傘を飛ばされ
Make
る
sure
な
you
よ
don't。lose your umbrellas.
皆様、
Everyone,
傘をお持
please
ちくだ
take
さ
an
い。
umbrella.
はい、エンジェちゃん。
Here's your
傘
umbrella, Angie-chan.
ありがとう。
Thanks,
おばさん。
Aunt Eva.
やっぱり女の子
Girls
は可愛い
really
わ
are
ね。
so cute.
今度、おばさん
Come
の
over
お
to
家にも
play
遊
at your
び
aunt's
にいらっ
house
しゃ
one
い。
of these days.
約
It's
束
a
よ。
promise, okay?
エヴァおばさんって。
Looks like Aunt Eva's taking a liking to Angie.
うん。
Yep,
母さんは本当は
apparently, Mother really
娘が
wanted a
欲しかった
daughter.
らしいんだよ。
ああ、
Oh,
聞いたこと
I've
あるぜ
heard。that too.
小さい頃、
I think
私
she
も随
adored
分
me
可愛
too
がってもらっ
when
た
I
気が
was
する。
little.
うちのママは
My mama said she really
男
wanted
の
a
子が
son.
良かった
Oh,
って言ってたよ。
元気に生まれてきてく
your
れれ
kid
ば
grows
性
up
別なんて
happily.
どうで
It
もいい
doesn't
の。
matter if they're a boy or a girl.
マリアは大切な
Maria
大
is
切
my
な
precious,
神様から
precious
の
gift
授
from
かり物
God.
なんだから。
When they got outside, the wind was fairly strong. Eva, who had really hit it off with Angie, offered to share an umbrella with that little girl. It was hard to tell what they were chatting so excitedly about, but they seemed to be getting along splendidly already. Battler opened his umbrella as he watched this. His little sister was cute when she clung to him, but she was just as cute and adorable when looking up at someone else with a happy smile. The wind and rain were strong, but even this must have been the perfect spice to heighten their anticipation of the coming meal. Thanks to some festive decorations, the main hall had been remade into the scene of a Halloween party. The Ushimiya family always took meals in the dining hall. This was the first time I'd ever seen a buffet-style party set up in the main hall.
Yo,
Yo, Battler!
おお、
Hey,
マリア。
Maria! Long
久
time
し
no
ぶりである
see.
な。
Beato! Happy Halloween! Trick or treat!
お菓子はあるが
I have
今
some
は
candy
寄らぬ
for you,
ぞ。
but now is not the time.
食事の前であるか
After
ら
all,
な。
it's just before a meal.
ありがとう、ベアトリーチェ
Thank you, Beatrice-san.
相変わらずお美
I
し
see
い
you're
わね。
looking as beautiful as ever.
ローザこ
You too, Rosa.
そ子持ちとは
You
思
certainly
え
don't
ん
look
ぞ
old enough to be a mother.
お前
Have you been
少し
drinking?
出来上がって耳が少し
Your ears
赤
are
いぞ
looking pretty red there.
うんあ
Hmm.
の後ちょ
Well,
っと
after you left,
金蔵が
Yenzo
珍し
said
い
he'd brought
酒
this
を手
rare
に
drink,
入れたという
so
の
I
で
couldn't
な
help but sample a bit.
食事の前のお菓子は自重
And
する
this
の
is
に
coming from a person who tells little kids not to eat candy before a meal.
失礼いたします。
Pardon
ベア
me,
トリーチェ様、
Beatrice-sama.
親方
The
様のお呼
master
び
is
でござい
calling
ま
for
す。
you. I saw Kinzo beckoning from over by the portrait.
やれやれ
Good grief.
セレモニーと
When
は
it comes to ceremonies, that man is always so obsessed with form.
例の黄金
It's
の
probably
返還
about
式
that
云々っ
ceremony
てこ
for
と
the
なんだ
gold's
な
return.
後ろ宮家に
And
とっ
this
て
is
は
a huge turning point
一
for
つ
the
の
Yushimiya
大きな
family.
節目なんだ。付き合ってやれ
You
よ
better go and play along.
ちと寂しい気持ちもあ
It
る
does make one feel a bit lonely, though.
後ろ宮家顧
This
問
won't
連携
change the
に父
fact
ある
that
こと
you're
は
the Yushimiya
こ
family
れからも
alchemist.
変わらねえさ。
であるな
Perhaps.
ではちょっと言ってく
Then
る
I'll be back shortly.
後ほど
See
ね
you later. Okay.
源氏の話
According to Genji, today's party has a bit of a theme
ち
to
ょっ
it.
とした楽しみにし
You
て
better
お
look
れ
forward to it.
用意した
You
のは
make it
お
sound
前じ
like
ゃ
you
ない
did
だろ
any of the work. You're another one who obsesses too much over details.
では後ほど
Later.
な
お兄ちゃん、
Honey
今日は
Chan,
何かある
is
の？
something going to happen today?
何か特別な
Is
日
it a？special day? It looked as though even Angie had picked up on that much. She seemed to be getting tense for no reason.
後ろ宮家にとっては
This is a
特
special
別な
day
日だ
for the Yushimiya family.
だが
But it doesn't have anything to do with you
気
personally,
楽にしてていいんだ
so
ぜ
you should just relax. Okay.
そうだ。
That's right.
ねえねえお兄ちゃん
Hey,
聞いた？
did you know?
さっきエヴァおばさん
I just heard a
ね
huge
す
secret
ご
from
い
Aunt
秘密を
Eva.
聞いたの。マリアお姉ちゃ
Even
んも知
Maria
らない
Nechan
秘
doesn't
密。
know.
お兄ちゃん
I'll
に
tell
だけ
you.
教えてあげるね。
ほう
Oh.
秘密ってなんだなんだ
What's the secret? Okay,
あのね、
okay.
アーモンドが入ってた
I
ら
heard that if you get an almond in yours, you win.
当たりって
Win?
くじ引きか何
Is
か
this like a lottery or something?
とにかく
Anyway,
ア
if
ー
you
モン
get
ド
an
が当
almond,
たりなの。
you win. And you puffed out her cheeks. Apparently, she wanted to be praised for sharing this exciting secret. But just knowing that almonds win doesn't really explain much.
分かった分かった
Okay, got it.
大切な秘密を教えて
Thanks
く
for
れ
letting
て
me in on that major secret.
お兄ちゃ
You're
ん
mean,
嫌い。
Annie-chan.
せっかく
I
秘
never
密
even
を
told
教
you my
えてあげ
secret.
たのに。
Angie, her cheeks still puffed out, headed back to where Aunt Eva was. They really are getting along well. Well, I guess I have no problem if it's her aunt. If it was some guy from her class, I don't care if they're in elementary school. It's not happening. No playing with the opposite sex without Oni-chan's approval. At that moment, Genji-san's voice rang out. The chatter gradually subsided, and the rain outside once again became apparent.
皆様
Ladies and
ご静
gentlemen,
粛に願い
I
ます
ask for your silence. Silence filled the room. All of the relatives seemed vaguely aware that tonight's festivities consisted of more than a Halloween party. Battler already knew. This was the ceremony to mark the return of the gold, from Kinzo to Beatrice, which had been borrowed for so many years. Now that fact was becoming announced by Kinzo himself. He spoke of how this gold had not only restored the Ushimiya family, but brought it to a level of wealth it had never before experienced. He spoke of how he would finally return this gold to Beatrice, the one who had saved the Ushimiya family. Kinzo personally handed an ingot, decorated with a bright red ribbon, to Beatrice. This is the debt we owe the 3 generations of Beatrice, the golden witch. The Ushimiya family will never forget it.
やれやれ
Sheesh.
しまう
And
場
if
所
you're
も
nowhere
な
to
いが
put it, I'll be happy to take it off your hands.
ベアトリーチェ様
Beatrice-sama. was hard to imagine Beato, of all people, getting admonished by Genji. I couldn't help but laugh. I am Beatrice, the Ushimiya family alchemist. Tonight, I acknowledge the end of the loan contract for the 10 tons of gold. Now, several decades following my grandfather's generation, the time has come for the eagle that lost one wing to fly once more. I will watch over that eagle, and I pray for its prosperity in all generations to come. Applause filled the hall. Though she'd managed to make such a dignified speech for once, as soon as it was over, she stuck out her tongue and leered at us. I guess that's about the limit to how long Beato can stay serious. By passing her name on through the generations, Beatrice, the Golden Witch, may live for thousands of years. Therefore, even her descendant shall be Beatrice, and all shall be alchemists to this family. The descendants of the Ushimiya family will praise Beatrice for her gratitude forevermore, and this will be passed on through the generations. This family will always be indebted to Beatrice, and she will always be our family, tied by a noble bond. Let those who acknowledge this show their recognitions with their applause. After Genji's words, the relatives all looked at each other, then started applauding at once. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Beatrice, you are a member of the Ushimiya family, and that is a bond more sacred than one of blood. Of course, lending money is more important than being a blood relation. Beatrice-sama. After that, Kinzo's long-winded speech continued. Tonight, Kinzo would retire as the Ushimiya family head. Then, he announced that he would reveal the distribution of his inheritance. A stir of excitement spread across the siblings in money trouble when they heard that they wouldn't have to wait for Kinzo's death to get their shares. I'm aware that each of you is in trouble with money. This should be enough to resolve all of those problems. But do not grow complacent. This is my inheritance, given to you before my death. In the past, though I have been strict, I have always watched over you. However, beginning tonight, your father will cease to provide support of that kind. I shall watch on as you take flight, as though watching down upon you from the heavens. No longer will I interfere. You may live however you please. Father, we understand. We will certainly take flight on our own. Here and now, all of us siblings swear to work together to make the Ushimiya family even more prosperous. That's right. If we stick together, nothing can stand in our way. Hideyoshi laughed, but Genji admonished him. However, he can understand why they were so happy. So far, the siblings had quarreled ruthlessly over the inheritance. However, this evening, the inheritance had been neatly split apart, and they no longer had any need to scheme for money. In other words, the siblings no longer had any reason to squabble with each other anymore. On the contrary, this was the time for them to join hands and help each other become more and more prosperous. Eva and Rosa were sniffling, with tears in their eyes. And so was Rudolph. Perhaps now, despite their ages, they had finally left the nest for real. Tonight, the eagles of the Ishimiya family would leave Rakanjima, the nest weaved from the witch's magic, and go their separate ways. With their power and determination, it made Kinzo think, if only I had done this from the start. If he had settled the inheritance problem himself, there would have been no need for his children to quarrel at all. Instead, he had acted in a sullen manner and left the problem to them, which had resulted in their strained relationships. Yes, it was all his responsibility, and now the intertwining bonds had been released. It was as though the invisible rope had been wrapped around Kinzo's body. That rope was now gone, and he felt a sense of release he hadn't experienced for many years. The four siblings stepped forward, and before Kinzo they swore to all support Kraus, the new head, and lead the family to greater prosperity. Their faces sparkled with an unexpected youthfulness. It was only natural. After all, none of the four had made such a natural-feeling promise since the time they were kids. As the vibrancy of their youth returned to them, the siblings made a promise once again. When Kraus finished his announcement, a friendly applause filled the hall. The cousins, and the servants too, joined in on the applause that continued on and on. Angie watched this, dumbfounded. The four siblings were supposed to have quarreled with each other constantly since they were kids, and they were supposed to have pointlessly locked swords with Kinzo's inheritance as their goal, their worries over money spurring them on. Thanks to this ceremony, even the word of truth, the word I acknowledge, has been rewritten. Were they actually friendly towards each other? Or did they quarrel all the time like I believe? It doesn't matter. Either way, right here, right now, all of those problems have been resolved. I mustn't believe. This is just Oni-chan's farce. Even though I knew that fact, when I watched Dad and the others hugging each other with teary smiles on their faces, I couldn't help but feel something warm welling up in my eyes. I won't believe this is all Oni-chan's farce.
お前は
What will you have to see?
何を見たら
What will you have to hear
信じることができ
before
る
you'll
んだ
let yourself believe?
赤で
Red.
赤き真
You
実
say
と
it
言っ
with
て
a
くれ
red
たら
truth.
赤で言えな
Is
ければ
everything that can't be said in red
全
a
ては
lie?
嘘なのか
信じ
I
ない
won't believe.
私は
This is just...
こんなの
Angie looked at the floor and fell silent. As the game master, Battler was able to use the red truth. However, that rule only exists on a witch's game board. In the world of humans, red truth doesn't exist. People see things, hear things, and when they believe that something is worth believing, they accept it as a red truth. Unless Angie accepts it, no kind of truth can become truth. Battler wanted her to realize this. There was no point in using the red truth, a rule of this game, to force the truth on her, and she would have to use her own power, her own heart, to accept the truth as truth. The decision was Angie's. No one could force her to decide either way. So, there was nothing wrong with Angie declaring the scene to be a farce. But if so, then what about the hot tears dripping down Angie's face? Angie would have to think that through herself, without anyone telling her. After one sniffle and a rub of her eyes, Angie let the 6-year-old version of herself take control of her peace. The problem is there aren't any facts. All of it's made up, this and everything else. So there's no facts to base the truth off of. If you just make it on whims, anything is the truth. What followed was a harmonious, fun stretch of time. Beautifully adorned dishes were brought in one after another, and champagne corks were loosened with pleasant sounds. Several small tables were set here and there, each with its own theme. That was where the fun lay in this stand-up buffet party, as the guests wandered from table to table, pondering what they should eat first. This sort of performance was where Goda's genius shone through. The hotel that let him go should have regretted ever having done so. Of course, a stand-up buffet would probably be a tiring affair for the middle-aged, so chairs had been set up as well. However, each time a new dish was brought into the hall, they could get up to look, wandering through the tables however they pleased. This way, they could each bump into a new group of people, then mingle elsewhere when that group melted apart. People are interesting. As the members in each group changed, so did the topic of conversation. The bustling Halloween party played out like a colorful kaleidoscope. The origami chains decorating the wall brought back youthful memories. Those would help anyone enjoy themselves like they were kids again. Even to Angie, it was like a dream. She chatted happily with her cousins. She also chatted with her aunts and uncles. Beato showed her several tricks that she called magic. Maria said they were magic, Angie said they were tricks, and the night grew even more lively. The two young girls were so fired up that the adults decided to show some tricks they knew, shocking both of the kids utterly. Eventually, they each started showing tricks to the others, asking if they'd ever seen this one or that one before, and it became a party of magic, just perfect for Halloween. In addition to magic tricks, several quizzes, riddles, and games popped up, reminding everyone of their childhood days. Even the servants who were serving food got dragged into the groups, and the whole hall was filled with chatter. To Angie, young as she was, every single magic trick, quiz, and riddle was an entirely new experience. They stimulated her intellectual curiosity, and she couldn't contain her excitement. Add in the wide variety of delicious foods and drinks she could choose from, and it was like being in a dream. And she felt a floaty sensation, as though she was walking on a cloud.
Angie,
Angie, did you drink some of this? This is Daddy's drink. I wanted to try some adult grape juice too. So it's okay. Your face is looking a little red there. Are you feeling alright? See, you only had a bit, so I think she'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'm not a kid. Angie-chan, drink this one, okay? That stuff your dad drinks is nasty, so don't try anymore. Got it? That's right. If you drink bad stuff, you'll end up as bad as a bad adult too. I'm not gonna be a bad adult. I'm gonna be a princess. That's right. Angie is our princess. Yep. She's our family's princess. I agree. You'd better come over to my house to play sometime. We'll have lots of fun. Okay. Thanks, Andiva. Everyone's being really nice. It almost feels like I've become a real princess. I feel so great, I could almost believe that this whole celebration was being held for my sake. Battler stood outside that group of people. As he watched Angie smiling happily from the distance, he smiled too. When she smiles like that, she really lives up to her name. It's so sad. I agree. It really is a smile fit for an angel. I hope that smile comes from the real Angie, and not just the piece. Even if it doesn't, she's watching this, and she can think it through herself. This game between you and Angie really is overflowing with affection. So much that it's irritatingly slow for me. What's wrong with that? There's no one to get in her way.
妨害も
No
駆け引きも
obstacles or tactics or anything else to worry about.
そうだな。
That's right.
このゲームは
This game
もはや
is no longer
戦
a
いでさ
battle.
えない。
言ってみれば
Now that you mention it,
片付けな
this is cleaning up.
俺たちのゲームの
Cleaning up after our game.
わらわの気まぐれなる行為が
I'll never
あや
make
つ
up.
に及んだ
I'll never be
罪
able to make up for the sin I did to her
償いきれぬ
through my careless actions.
俺たちのゲームの責任だ
We have to take responsibility for our game.
俺たち二人で
We'll make up for our sins together.
だから俺たちで
That's why we're showing Angie
エン
his
ジに
final
最後のゲ
game.
ームを送る
エンジェは
Do you think
あ
that
の
Angie will
鍵
be
を
able to use
正し
that
く
key
使えると
the
思
right
う
way?
か。
俺たちが
Of
正しい
course.
と思う方へ
I've thought about forcibly
無理や
dragging
り
her in
引
the
っ張ること
direction we think is
も
right.
ちろん考えたさ
それは意味な
Such
き
an
こと
attempt
か
would
も
probably
しれ
have
んな。
been meaningless.
強制された選
When you're
択は
forced to make a decision,
正しくとも
it's hard to accept that it was
生涯
truly a
受け入れが
correct
たい
one, no matter how much time passes.
そういうことだ
Exactly.
エンジェは
Angie has to think and choose for herself.
それが
Even if she doesn't
俺
make the
たちから見
decision
て
we
正し
view
く
as
な
the
い選
correct
択で
one,
あったとしても
I think we should respect it. Hmm.
ゲームマスターは
You
そう
are
な
the game master.
わらわは
I
も
cannot
はや
argue with you
何
anymore.
も口を挟まぬ今宵を
I
ただ
will
楽
simply
しむ
watch
だ
on
けだ。
and enjoy this night.
エンジェにとっては意味あるゲーム
This
だ
game is really significant for Angie,
だが
but for us,
俺たちにとって
it's kind
は
of like a party after the
お
show.
疲れ様パーティーみたいなもんさ
そろそろやってくる頃合い
It's
だな。
almost time.
しかし良い
But
のか
are you sure?
エンジェにまた誤
Angie
解
might
さ
get
れ
the
る
wrong
ぞ。
idea again, right?
大丈夫さ
It'll be fine.
それに
In fact,
むしろ
this
必要
is
なんだ
necessary,
お前がそういう姿を
just
見
like
せ
how
て
you appeared in the way you did,
みんなは
and everyone else too. Hmm.
ならば我ら
Then
も
let us enjoy this
この
final
千秋楽
celebration with
祝
the
いを
others.
楽しませてもらうとし、これほどの長きゲ
After all,
ームにて
All of them have acted their parts
それ
so
ぞれ
well
の
in this
役を
long
見
game.
事演じきってきたのだから。
That instant, the sound of someone clapping for attention rang out.
さあさあ皆
Your
様
attention,
お
everyone.
集まりください。本日のとっ
Please
ておきで
gather.
ございます。本日は
And now,
今夜
for
のハロウ
today's
ィンパーティ
special
ーの
event,
目玉としてこの特
Goda
製
had been
ザ
the
ッ
one
ハトルテを
clapping.
ご用意させていただきました。
everyone gathered together, wondering what was going on. On the serving cart in front of him was a large sliced chocolate cake.
ご覧の通り
As the highlight
チョ
of
コレー
tonight's
トに
Halloween
て
party,
片翼の
I have
足の
prepared
紋章
this
の風呂をつけた
Sakator
後ろ見分け
for
だけ
you
の
all.
一品でござい
As
ま
you
す
can。see, it was made especially for the Yushimiya family, and bears the crest of the one-winged eagle in chocolate. The stupendous cake drew a gasp of admiration from all present.
これは立派な
It's a
ケーキですな
splendid cake.
目玉にふさ
A
わしい
perfect
もの
highlight
です
for the party.
いえいえ
Oh no,
ただのケーキでは
It's
ご
not just
ざ
the
いませんよ。今夜のこのケー
tonight's
キに
cake
は
has a
一
little
つ
secret.
秘密親方様
Master, I
ど
ask
うか
that
そ
you
れを
explain
皆
that
様
secret
に
to
お
everyone.
話しくださりますよ。よろしくお願いいたします。
Very well.
これはささや
This
か
is a
な
bit of a
ゲームであるこのケーキ
One slice of this cake will be used to select the winner. It's got an almond in it! Angie shouted happily. Kenta looked at her and nodded. In just one slice of this cake, there is a single almond. The one who chooses that piece shall become tonight's king. Ooh, it's been a long time since I played the king game.
あなたの
I'm guessing the subject matter was a bit different when you played it.
さて
So,
王様
what
になる
happens
と
to the person
ど
who
んな
becomes
こと
the
がある
king?
のですかな王様は
The king gets to
願い
name
を一
one
つ
wish.
口にするそれを皆
Then we
で
shall all
叶
try
え
to
よう
grant
で
it
はない
together.
か
へえ
Oh,
面白そうだ
sounds
ぜ
interesting. Choose wisely. Ooh,
王様は
kings are
男
boys.
がなる女の子
Girls
は
can't
な
be
れない
kings.
よ
If a girl wins, they get to become the princess. The almond. The one with the almond wins. Right? Right?
そうだな
That's right.
エンジェはすごいな
Incredible, Angie.
こういう時は
In
くじ運
times
な
like
ものを
this,
言うん
luck can tell you something about a man.
負けへんで
Can't let myself lose now.
お待ちなさい
Hold
よ
up there.
小さい子から
Let's
順に選
let
ぶ
the
といいわ。
smallest kids choose first.
それがいいで
Good
すね。
idea.
エンジェちゃんからどうぞ。
Angie-chan, you can go first.
こら
Hey,
マリアは
you're the
姉
big
さんで
cousin
しょ
now, Maria.
エンジェちゃんを
Let
先にしな
Angie-chan
さい
go first. Oh, oh, oh. But what if Angie wins? Oh, I am gonna win. The almond wins. The almond wins.
私たち
It
年寄り
seems
は
we old fogies
残り
must
物
hope
に
that
福がある
leftovers
こと
are
を
lucky
祈り
today.
ましょう。
和解順という
If
こ
we're
と
going
は
by
リ
age,
リは
I
金
guess
蔵
that
である
means
よな
Kinzo's last.
そなたは
But weren't you
1000
1,000 years
歳であろう
old?
が。
納得ゆ
No.
か
Everyone burst out laughing. Her real age was unknown, but she claimed to be 19 years old. In front of Angie lay a large cake, split into several pieces. Just one of those pieces has the winner. Was the winner. Give me a sec. I'm not gonna backtrack the first round through, but just so I don't have to get back here to see what the other endings are. In the event I do have to choose. Anyway, well then, Angie-sama,
どのケーキになさ
which
いま
piece
すかな
would you like?
どれを選ん
Whichever
で
you
も
choose, it
ほ
will
っ
be
ぺ
ever
た
so
が落っこち
delicious.
るほどおいしい。
やだ。
No way.
当たりの
I
が
only
ない
want
と
the
や
winning
だ。
one.
じゃあ
Oh
一
then,
発で当て
you
て
have
み
to
せ
try
る
and
しか
guess right on the first shot.
ほら
Go ahead,
選べ選べ
pick one. Battler pushed Angie's small back towards the table with the cake.
どれに
Which one should I take? The chocolate cake was cut into 15 pieces. I want to pick the one with the almond and become the princess. One of them has an almond. Which could it be? I get to choose first, but it sort of feels unfair. I mean, it is, isn't it? My chances of getting the right one are 1 in 15. There's no way I'll get it. And then, when Maria Onei-chan goes after me, she has a 1 in 14 chance of picking the winner. The next person has a 1 in 13 chance, and a 1 in 12 chance, and the last person will win for sure? That's not how
お兄ちゃん、
probability
こ
works.
れずるい。
Onei-chan, this isn't
最
fair.
初に選ぶ人
It's
の
harder
方
for the
が不
person who
利。
goes first. Everyone laughed. Apparently, there was something wrong with my calculations, but I still didn't like it.
さあ
Then let us start this contest of luck with Angie-sama.
どうぞどうぞ
Please,
お選び
feel
く
free
だ
to
さい
make your selection.
うーん
Okay,
うーん
okay. If I have to pick one out of so many, there's no way I'll win. But for some reason, tonight, feels like I might actually win after all. I have no reason for feeling this way, but when I'm in a good mood, Lady Luck always brings me fortune.
ほら
Have you decided yet? Yeah,
決まった。
I've decided.
これが
This one's the winner. I concentrated on my fingertip and pointed at one of the 15 slices. The slice I chose was... Choose a slice, huh? Is there anything special and different about them? Not that I can tell. Let's go with this one. I'm gonna go with that one.
これ。
This one.
これでございま
This
すね
one. Are you
よろしい
sure?
ですか
もう決めた
I've made
の。
up my mind.
これがい
I
い。
want this one. When he asked me whether I was sure, I felt a little uneasy. Still, at times like this, it's better to stick with your instincts. It was one of the few bits of philosophy that this young girl had learned from her few life experiences. Yoda took the chosen slice, put it on a plate with a fork, and handed it to Angie. You never
次
know.
はマリアね。
I
マ
go
リア。
next. Oh, what should I take?
どれにしよう
It
かな。
was Maria's turn next. Did none of them have an almond? She was excited, determined to be the winner. Or are we always the winner? I walked away from that group all by myself. I was struck by a temptation to quickly cut the cake open and check for an almond inside. However, I stopped myself. If I check my piece first, my chance of winning is 1 in 15. However, if I wait for some other people to check their slices, then when I see that they've lost, my chances will go up, if only slightly. No, In other words, instead of searching for the almond right away, my chances will go up if I wait for some other people to lose. But if someone picks a winner while I'm sitting around here, chances of my slicing a winner will go to 0. It'll be tough to calculate the right moment. I need to wait just long enough for as many losers to show up as possible. My chances of winning are highest if I can check my piece immediately before someone else wins. Yeah, that's the trick to winning this game. Totally. Yeah, that's exactly how math works. What a strange thought. It feels like I'm missing something. Even though no one else can touch the cake that's sitting in front of me, the almond inside it will appear or disappear depending on whether or not the other people win or lose. I was in such a good mood that I felt dizzy and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my theory. But I did realize that something was strange. I'll try. There's always just one truth inside a cat box. No matter what happens outside the box, it shouldn't be able to shake the truth inside. And yet, I'm being shaken about by events outside the cat box, trying to use those to change the way I observe the box's contents. I don't even know what I'm saying. Another me inside me is trying to say that, but it's too hard for me to understand. I feel like I'm drifting. I got so cheery and excited that, even though I'm not sleepy, my mind feels hazy. Maybe it's because I drank Dad's adult drink. In the end, even though I chose the first piece, I decided to check it last. After I've seen that everyone else has lost, my chances of winning will be 100%. I tried to find the contradiction in my thinking, but I didn't really get it, so I stopped. It's much better to have a 100% chance than a 1 in 15 one, so I decided to bet on that. I couldn't wait to open this precious treasure chest. But I waited for everyone else to choose their pieces and check them. How's it going? Has anyone found a winner? Oh, I didn't have one. I lost too. I guess I'll have to give up on being a princess. Even if you lose, the cake really is beautiful and delicious. It's such a good decoration. It's almost a shame to eat it. I can't pronounce that. How about you? Got the almond? No, not me either. What about you, Hideyoshi-Nissan? Mine's a loser too. Looks like I've used up all my luck with my company and my wife. What exactly do you mean by that? What about you, Dr. Nanjo? I'm checking it now. Games like this can truly be fun, every now and then. Indeed. Sometimes a simple test of luck, without any strategy or tactics, can be quite entertaining. What about you, Beato? There's a liar who said leftovers would be lucky. What about you, Angie? Was there an almond in yours? I'm checking now. Oh, you still haven't touched yours? I've been following my own personal probability theory, which is bogus, but I didn't think I could explain it well to Oni-chan, so I didn't mention it to him. I wonder if there's an almond in here. Well, that probably actually does work in some cases, not in this one. I wonder if there's an almond in here. If I win, I'll be tonight's princess. I'll be happy if I win, but even if I don't, it'll still be a really fun night, so that's okay. It got put on hold when this cake game started, but before then, everyone was having a lot of fun trading tricks, quizzes, and riddles. This game is fun too, but I want to play like that again soon. Huh? What's up, Angie? Oh? I lifted up that tiny thing with my fork and stared at it, then showed it to my brother. This is an almond, right? No. Whoa! Angie got it! It's awesome! At the same time, a stir rose up in the corner of the room. I got one! I won! Oh! So you have won! My! Congratulations, Eva-sama! What's wrong?
エンジェ
Who
が
won?
当たりなの。私が
Mine has the
アーモンドな
almond.
の。
I held the almond high and shouted across the room. The crowd around Eva split, and everyone stared at me, surprised. I was surprised too. The thing in her hand was, without a doubt, an almond.
なんだなんだ
What the heck?
こりゃどう
What's
いう
going on here?
5だ
Goda.
アーモンドが
There
2つ
seems to
入
be
ってる
two
ようだ
almonds.
が
So
ど
are
ちら
they
も
both
当たりなの
winners?
かね
はて
But that shouldn't
そ
have...
んなはずは
どちらか
Does
が
this mean that
勘
one of the
違い
two
という
winners
ことで
made
し
a
ょう
mistake?
か
エンジェ様の
Angie Sama's
間
is
違いな
clearly an
くアーモン
almond.
ドカノン君。
How
そっ
about
ちは
your hand, Kennen-kun?
エヴァ様のも間違い
Eva
なく
Sama's is clearly an
アーモン
almond.
ドです。
では二人と
It
も
seems
当
that
た
they
り
both
という
win.
ことではありませんか。
親方様
Master.
これは
What an odd occurrence.
あるものどうしたの
What's all this, Goda?
5だよ
Well,
そう
seems we've
これは
had
ち
a
ょっ
little
とした
mistake.
手違いでその
Perhaps they should do
じゃんけんでもしてもら
rock,
って
paper.
ケチくさい
Come
ことを
now,
言う
don't
で
be
ない
stingy.
二つの
It
アー
just
モン
means
ド
that
が
two
現
almonds
れ
have appeared to
女王
signify
と
the
姫が
queen
選
and
び
the
出された
princess.
だけの話ではない。
そういうことだ
Precisely.
二人が当
Let's
た
have
りと
them
いう
both
こ
be
とで
winners.
良いではないか
ああ
That,
まあ
well,
し
but
かし
Goda was hesitant. Actually, he had prepared a single special dessert for the king. It had been decorated in a way that made it hard to split for two people, so it wasn't convenient for there to be two kings. When Eva heard Goda mumbling something to this effect, she shrugged and laughed.
じゃあ
In that case,
エンジェ
let's
ちゃん
have
がお姫
Angie-chan
様
be
に
the
なりなさい。
princess.
お姫
The
様。
princess?
エンジェはお
I'm
姫
the
様な
princess.
の。
私はその
I'll
付き
be
人
your
よ。
attendant.
こ
That
れなら
works,
いいで
right?
しょ。
Of course it worked. Angie had been worried that Eva would be declared the winner since she had spoken up first. So she hadn't even dreamed that Eva would give it up to her.
でもいい
But
の？
are you sure?
エヴァおばさん
You
も当
won
たりな
too.
のに。
いいの
It's
よ。
okay.
エンジェちゃんの
I
付
get
き
to
人
be
に
your
なれたも
attendant.
の。さあ、
Come,
お姫
princess.
様、あなたが叶えて
What
ほ
wish
しい
do you
願
want
いは
granted?
な。考えてちょう
Let's
だ
hear
い
it.
な。
エンジェは
I've already chosen my wish.
もう決めてある。
あら、
Oh?
それは何？
And what is it?
おばさんに教え
Won't
て
you。tell your aunt? I want this fun time to keep on going. Forever. The young me spoke for the desire in my heart. What we
さ
were
っきま
doing
での
before this was
楽しい
fun,
が
so I'd like
ず
to
っと
keep
続
doing
いてほしい
it.
の。
I get the feeling that the nuance has changed. Still, that was unmistakably my wish.
さっきまでの。
What we were doing before this?
あ
Oh, you mean
手
those
品とか
tricks
クイ
and
ズと
quizzes?
か？
Yeah,
あ、じゃあ
Then
こ
let's
うし
do
ましょう
this.。
みんな聞いて。
listen up, everyone.
お姫様の命
This is
令
an
よ。
order from your princess.
ついさっきまで
Remember
みん
how
なが
much
盛り
fun we
上
were
がってい
having
たよう
earlier?
に、手品やクイ
Let's
ズ
all
など
entertain
で
Auntie-chan
エン
with
ジェちゃんを
tricks and
楽しませ
quizzes.
てあげてちょうだい。
おいおい
Hold up there.
もう手品
I've
のネ
already
タも
used
尽
up
きち
all
ま
my
った
magic
ぜ
tricks.
ならクイズや
Let's do
謎
quizzes
々
and
ね
riddles.
つまりみ
So
ん
I
な
just
でい
need to
ろいろな
entertain
クイズ
Angie-chan
で
with
エン
quizzes.
ジェちゃんに楽しんでもらうようにすれば
お姫様に楽
We
し
can all
んでもら
present
えるク
quizzes
イズ
for a
を
princess to
みんなで
enjoy.
献上するのですね。
なるほど
I
ね
see.
了解したよ
Understood.
なるほ
Yes,
ど
so
面
intriguing.
白いではエンジェよこうしよう
Then, Angie, let us do it this way.
みんなにクイズや
Everyone
謎
will give you a
々を
quiz
出して
or a
もら
riddle,
い
and you
そ
can
れに
try to
挑
solve
む
them.
がよい見事
Each
解
time
け
you
る
succeed,
たびに
I will
そ
give
なた
you a
に
medal.
メダルを1枚与えよう
メダルって？
A medal?
記念メダル
It
って
probably
こと
means
だろう
some
な
sort of commemorative medallion.
いっぱい正解で
If
き
you
れ
get a
ば
lot of puzzles
い
right,
っぱい
we'll
集め
get
ら
a
れ
lot
る
of
だろう
medals.
ぜ
ただ集める
Just
だけで
gathering
は
medals
つまり
is a
ません
tad
ね
boring, don't you think?
うん
Yes.
集めたメダル
Depending on
の
the
枚
number of
数
medals
に
you
応
collect,
じて
I shall give you a
私から素敵な
fantastic
プレゼ
present.
ントを送って
How
ど
a
う
lot of presents? It's very
が
strange.
ぜ
I don't
んやる気
Well,
が出たで
Do
あ
you
ろう
suddenly feel fired up?
すごいじゃ
This sounds
ない。ご
amazing.
褒美まであるんです
So
って
there's
よ
even a prize.
よかったわね
Isn't that great,
Angie?
Angie? Yeah. Everyone gathered around me, smiling as they thought about what sort of puzzles they'd give me. They're all thinking about me, so they can play with me. Just the feeling of having that all to myself made me explode with joy at becoming the princess. Umineko no Naku Koto Nichiru, Nocturne of Truths and Illusions. Alrighty then. So, 2 winners, huh? I became the Halloween party princess, and the tournament of quizzes and riddles just for me began. It looks like I get a medal for each puzzle I get right. If I get a lot, I'm supposed to get a wonderful prize from Grandfather. Okay, here I go.
誰からクイズをもらえばいいのかな。
誰から
I
でも
don't
いい
think
そ
it
うよ
matters.
好きな人に話しかけてごらんなさい
今のうちに
I'd better think of the killer
何か
puzzle
とっ
while
て
I
お
have
き
the
の問題
chance.
を考えておかないとね。
マリア
Maria,
あなた
didn't
ク
you
イ
have
ズ
a
の
quiz
本を
book
カバ
in
ン
your
に入れて
bag?
なかった
Oh, I do.
意地悪な問題でエンジェをいじめるな。
Maria Onechan laughed with an evil smile. It looks like everyone's going to try and bully me. I'm sure they'll think up some really hard questions.
大丈夫
Don't
よ
worry, I'll
お
lend
ば
a
さん
hand.
が助けてあげる
本当？
Really?
ええ
Of course.
だっておばさ
After
んは
all,
お
I'm
姫
the
様の
princess's
付き人じゃ
attendant.
ないだから二
So
人
let's
で
give
頑
it
張
our
っ
all
て
together
いっ
and
ぱ
get a
いいっ
huge
ぱいメ
pile
ダ
of
ルを集
medals.
めちゃおう
Okay,
さあさあ、エン
come
ジェ
now,
様。
Angie-sama.
誰からでも
Start
結構でございます。
wherever
このゴーダも
I, Goda,
いつで
am
も
ready to
挑戦
challenge you
をお受け
whenever
い
you
たしま
please.
す。
Oh, not so fast. The honor of the first audience of the princess belongs to me. Angie, begin with my challenge. Okay. I suddenly got tense and my stomach began to feel tight. Then Antiva gently held my hand.
大丈夫よ
It'll be okay.
一緒に
Let's
頑
do
張り
this
ましょう
together. Okay. Then let us begin, Angie. This is a story about December 25th, Christmas Day.
クリスマス？
Christmas? Even though it was October, he suddenly started talking about Christmas. Is he going to ask what day Christmas is? I know that. It's December 25th. On Christmas Day, a woman looked up at the night sky and spoke. Eventually, the night will end and morning will come. Wouldn't it be wonderful if after the sun sinks and it becomes night once more, it could be Christmas again? And then the man spoke. Okay, I'll make your dream come true for you. Is such a thing possible?
クリスマスの次の
Day
日は
after Christmas is the
26
26th,
日で
a
普
normal
通だった
day.
らそんなの無理。
That's impossible.
夜が明けても
Still
まだ
Christmas,
クリスマ
even
ス
after the sun rises. Oh,
お
I've
ば
got
さ
it.
んわーかっ
Huh?
どうして
Oh,
どうして
how
クリ
will
ス
the day
マ
after
スの
Christmas
次の
be
日が
Christmas
ま
again?
たクリスマスなの？
Think about it for yourself, Angie. Nope, totally possible. International time border. So, begin the puzzles, huh? Christmas Day, a woman looked up at the night sky and spoke. Eventually the night will end and morning will come. Wouldn't it be wonderful if after the sun sinks and it becomes night once more, it could be Christmas again? Then the man spoke. Okay, I'll make your dream come for you. Yeah. Oh, I see.
可能だ。
It is possible.
そ
Yeah,
うそう
that's right.
一日の間に
After all, there are 2 nights in every
2
day.
回あるのよね
Right.
12
December
月25
25th
日は
starts at
真
midnight.
夜中午前0時が
Midnight is
夜だ
during
か
the
ら
night,
そ
so
れ
that's
が
the
最
first
初の
night.
夜。それから
Then morning
朝にな
comes,
って
and the night
ま
falls
た
again.
夜になっ
It's
て
still
も
the same day
夜中
until
の
midnight.
12時まではまだ同じ日。
そういうこと
Exactly.
そのどちらの夜も
And both of those
確かに
nights
クリス
are
マスの日
nights
の
on
夜よね
Christmas Day.
エンジェすごい？
Am I awesome?
エン
Am
ジ
I
ェす
awesome?
ごい？
Mine was a more technical one. You start on like Australia, where the international timeline starts. Christmas starts. You cross the line. It's now the 24th, and you wait for Christmas again. Technically, it works. With a delighted smile, Aunt Eva patted my head vigorously. Well done, Angie. I tried to make it a hard question, but you solved it like it was nothing. Congratulations, Angie-san. Here is the medal for getting the first question right. Genji-san held out the gold-colored medal. Grandfather smiled at me, urging me to take it. Thank you. Keep up the pace. Well now, that is all for my puzzle. Head over there and ask whomever you choose for a quiz. It was a heavy, gold-colored medal. If I got a lot of these right, my pockets might burst. I'm gonna get so many that I can brag about it to everyone. After bowing to Grandfather, I hurried off with Aunt Eva to where everyone else was gathered. You got one medal. Sweet. Kinzo watched Angie go with a warm gaze. Did I make it a bit too easy? No, I think it was just right. Genji, have I managed to act the part of a good grandpa? Of course. Angie is young, and she frequently grows sick and is unable to come to Rockinjima. She probably won't remember me well. Young children have their own kind of cruelty. They think of kindness as something they'll naturally receive. And because they think of kindness as only natural, they forget about it quickly. It is no different from gratitude to one's parents. It will probably take Angie-sama many years before she understands. Do you think she will eventually remember that I was a fun grandpa? Yes, I am certain of it. Kinzo's expression grew slightly darker. Eventually, even Angie will get older, and she will probably hear how the public at large regards Ushumiya Kinzo. The Ushumiya Kinzo known by the public is completely different from the Kinzo who plays with his grandchildren. When she learns, will Angie remember the face of Kinzo the tyrant, known of by the world, or that gently smiling face? I would hope for her to remember my smile, if possible, but such a thing is probably too much to ask for. There's no way around it. That's what children are. Oh, it's you? Children just eat up kindness, and it never remains in their memories. By the time 12 years have passed, she will surely learn what a bizarre, eccentric Ushumiya Kinzo was. Your smile is fated to be painted over by that and forgotten. Most probably. No matter how much I spoil her, my love will not be rewarded. However, just as it takes a long time to remember what you owe your parents, Angie will surely remember someday. She will remember the smiles you showed her. Let her forget. One smile from her is the greatest parting gift I could ever take with me when my time comes. This is the essence of unrewarded love. I guess grandfathers are always unrewarded. Oh, but I have been rewarded. With Angie's smile just now to look back upon, I could happily pass on in my sleep tonight. With a lonely laugh, Kinzo spun around, setting his cape fluttering. This was all the love he could offer Angie as a grandfather. Part of him wanted to be remembered, but he knew he mustn't wish for that. That was how unrewarded love worked. After looking at Kinzo's back, Beato stared at Angie's back again. Angie, even so, please remember it someday. Remember the smile, The
どん
Kinzo
な笑
once
顔を
showed
見せ
you.
ていたのかをな。
Okay, whose quiz should I take next? I'm going to challenge more and more people, get more and more medals, after getting them right, and get a wonderful present to show everyone. Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi are over there. They're looking this way and smiling. I'm sure they thought up some interesting puzzles. There's Uncle Hideyoshi, beckoning me for me to come over. He's a fun uncle, so I'm sure he's thought up a fun question. Mom and Dad are across from him. They're waving at me, telling me to have lots of fun. Dad probably knows a lot of really hard questions. He might be tough. Over there is Aunt Rosa and Maria One-chan. It looks like they're reading a quiz book together, searching for a problem. Every now and then, Maria One-chan glances over at me, saying, "Kee." And she can be mean sometimes, so I'm sure her puzzle won't be a nice one. Beyond them are Battler Oni-chan, George Oni-chan, and Jessica One-chan. Battler Oni-chan is usually nice, but he sometimes says really mean things. I think he likes seeing me get confused. I get the feeling that he'll give me a really tough problem. Is there anyone who looks like they won't be mean? If I can, I'd like to start with some easy puzzles to warm me up. All the way over there are Genji-san and Dr. Nanjo. I don't think those two will be mean to me. And then there's Shannon and Cannon. Shannon knows about a lot of quizzes and fairy tales. I'm sure she'll give me something unique. Then we have Goda-san and Kumasawa-san who are serving tea. Kumasawa-san might be tough. I kind of think she'll give me a really confusing problem. Looks like everyone might be pretty tough. Angie-chan, I've got a good one for you. Over here. Uncle Hideyoshi is calling for me. What should I do? Should I go? Do you want to try Uncle Hideyoshi? Yeah. The order doesn't matter. After all, I'm going to challenge everyone. I rolled up my sleeves and headed toward Uncle Hideyoshi. I'm just picturing the little bitty Angie rolling up her sleeves and just doing that little kid strut. Here you are. Mine's a tricky one, okay? I wonder what sort of question you'll give her. Don't make it too hard, okay? It's okay if it's hard. I'll solve it. Ooh, looking pretty confident there. Okay, here he comes. After clearing his throat, Uncle Hideyoshi started telling his question. Mine's a riddle. Listen closely now. You know the story of Momotaro, right? No? Okay, the boy who floated down a river in a peach. I know of it. That's right. But you know, one day, an apple floated down that river. An apple? Yep. And the next day, a butternut squash floated down it. I hate butternut squash. And then the next day, some cabbage floated down it. And the next day, a dill pickle did. And the next day, an eggplant floated by. And the day after that, a fig did. What a strange tale. Did a greengrocer live upstream or something? Okay, here's the question. What floated down the river the next day? Huh? Got it? Do you get it, Angie-chan? I don't get it. Then I'll give you a hint. There's a pattern to things that float down the river. Can you guess what the pattern is? What a huge hint. Apple, butternut squash, cabbage, dill pickle, eggplant, fig. It's obviously an onion. No, it's all alphabetical. It's not all that hard of a riddle. I know. It's a grapefruit. That's right. It wasn't one of the choices, but green beans would have worked too. The names all followed the alphabet. Apple was A, butternut squash was B, cabbage was C, and kept going on with D, E, and F. So after F comes G. That's why the answer had to be something that started with G.
ありがとう。
Thanks,
おばさんの
Anita.
ヒン
I
ト
got
が
it
解
right
けた。
thanks to your hint.
エンジェちゃんが自
You
分で
solved
解
it
いた
by
のよ
yourself, Angie-chan.
すごいわ
Incredible.
いやいや
Yep, nice
見
work.
事な正解の
Oh,
メ
here's
ダ
your
ル
medal
をあ
for
げよ
getting
う
it
な
right. Hideyoshi took out a gold-colored medal and placed it into my palm. It felt heavy in my hand. Yeah, this is what victory feels like. Better keep it up. You got one medal. And with that, I think I'll call it a day for now. 2 riddles, ain't too
わし
bad.
なエヴァの分もなのかもう一枚メダルをもらっとんのや
Got another medal for Eva's puzzle? I'll save it for next time and have maybe just an entire day of riddles tomorrow. Alright. And there's Angie. Alright. Well, this might be fun. I'm curious if they'll go with the simple riddle options or if they'll go with more tougher ones. I'm okay at puzzles. I'm horrible at riddles. It's so we'll see where we get to. I'm not gonna look anything up. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna try and solve it on my own merit for whatever it happens to be. So whatever ending I end up with is what I end up with. I'll then maybe later or on my own try and get the true route or whatever, just to see if it's there. But that'll be adventure for another day. Anyway, thank you for hanging around, watching me, and we'll figure out some puzzles for next time.